Mr. Chairman, ranking members and congressmen, thank you. I'm happy to be here. This is an important issue, and I'm grateful for your time. My name is David Charles Grush. I was an intelligence officer for 14 years.
In July 2023, a bombshell congressional hearing made waves around the world.
I was informed in the course of my official duties of a multi-decade UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering program.
But one investigative journalist has been sounding the alarm on UFO secrets for decades.
I think it is a hugely significant moment, and I never thought I would see it in my lifetime.
George Knapp joins us now with UFOs, the best evidence. George?
There are many unanswered questions about UFOs. Speculation about some long-standing government cover-up is tough for many people to swallow. You got photos, you got movie footage, you got video. There is some kind of a phenomenon here that can't just be written off.
I've always approached it as a news story. It's not my religion, it's not a belief. I don't know what to believe even now.
Now News Nation is bringing you unprecedented access to the files of George Knapp.
I have secret stashes of files and things all over the station.
Mountains of evidence compiled from the government's own files.
No one who knew Area 51 from the inside ever talked publicly.
Well, there's several, actually 9 flying saucers.
They have between 30 and 50 alien bodies.
The government has been telling us for years that they're not real.
And how his life's work still influences the conversations on UFOs.
If it is true, it would be the biggest story in history.
And it's up, this is an Air Force. You can pick out an Air Force physics book and read this stuff. And at the end of the chapter, they go on to say, this leads us to believe in the unpleasant possibility of alien visitors to our planet, or at least of alien-controlled UFOs. Now, the picture that we have of the big head that the Air Force describes, this picture was drawn by an Army surgeon. These are one of the bodies that was recovered in the famous Roswell incident of 1947.
Tell us about that.
It was the first flying saucer that crashed and was recovered by the Army.
Originally, the Roswell Army Air Base announced it had recovered a flying saucer from a ranch outside Roswell. The story made headlines around the world, but hours later, higher up said no, it was a weather balloon. Pieces of the balloon were shown to reporters. Years later, the officer who first visited the crash site, Major Jesse Marcel, confided that the weather balloon story was a cover-up.
One thing I was certain of, being familiar with all our activities, that it was not a weather balloon, nor an aircraft, nor a missile. It was something else of which we didn't know what it was.
What was shown to reporters wasn't what he found.
The newsmen saw very little of that material, a very small portion of it. And none of the important things, like these members that had these hieroglyphics or markings on. And when the general came in, he told me not to say anything, that he would handle it.
Since Marcel's admission, scores of other witnesses have also surfaced.
And one of the surgeons that was responsible for the autopsy drew that picture.
This is an autopsy report. Now, you said the government goes to great lengths, the Air Force in particular, to discredit this kind of stuff. Where did this come from? How did you get this?
That came from the private collection of Leonard Stringfield, who was one of the premier researchers. He worked for the Air Force in the early 50s in a secret project reporting UFOs. Then as a civilian, he continued his private research, and this is out of his collection.